I'd like to pass it now to the League of Women's Voters representative, Emily Hauser, and the other representative that you'll see tonight is Dare Thompson. And thank you all again for being here and participating in this wonderful event.
We have 3 different offices that we're going to be discussing tonight. So we're going to start with the town board, and then we'll go on to the supervisors, and then go on to the county legislature candidates. And so we have about 40 minutes for this group, and then 30 and 30, and we'll try to end at 9. So each candidate's going to have a 2-minute opening statement. And Doug, can you just raise your card to let people know that? So Doug has some cards, and he will let you know if you're running out of time. And those cards, he will give you a warning, and then he'll give you a hard stop. Okay, 1 minute and so on. So the pink one or the red one is a hard stop. Okay. We're going to just we're going to cover issues. We don't want any personal remarks, and don't try to make a statement on here because it'll be hard for me to read something like that. And I will revise it so it's more general if it's only focused on one person, and so on. So the candidates will get 2 minutes to open, 1.5 to answer every question, and then 2 minutes to close. So I'm going to figure out how many questions we can ask based on the time lapse. Please turn off your electronic devices, or at least mute them. We ask that the audience be quiet and respectful while the candidates speak, and hold your applause to the very end. Okay? Okay, and so we are ready to start. And so we have the council, town council, and we have Robert, Ambrose, Matt, Zick, and Diane Willis in that order. So go ahead, Robert. Yes, and there's 2 mics if you want the second mic. Yeah, there's 2 mics among the 3 of you. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, my name is Robert Ambrose. I've been a member of the community for 45 years, and tonight I'm running for a seat on the town board. I've served the community as a member of the fire department for 25 plus years, a life member, where I've served the community and just helped save lives in the community. I've served on the fire district for 5 years, where I've worked with the budgets for the town, and I've worked on saving taxpayer money and trying to keep the taxpayers' interest as its top priority.
So my name's Matt Zick. I am currently running for re-election for my 2nd term. I've been on the board since 2017. My wife and I bought a house 10 years ago right in the middle of town. We have a family, we have our kids in the school district. We really do this because we want to see our town grow and prosper. My wife helps out she's an alternate on the ZBA, helps out with our local church. A part of such organizations as Fossil and the Lions Club. I help do the ice rink every winter, which has been something for the kids to do, and even adults to go down and do. People have been teaching figure skating lessons down there. Our house is a work in progress right in the middle of town. I would say my priorities are recreation, where we are going to be having a new state-of-the-art playground be coming to our town pretty soon. downtown business district revitalization, and I would really like to see our town hall move down into town. I am a registered no party, so I am very grateful to have both the local Democratic and the local Republican support. And I believe what everybody in this community wants is to have a sense of safety and security, a strong school, and a strong business district. So, thank you.
I'm Diana Willis, and yes, I am standing, just in case. I want to thank you all, for being here, doing one of the most patriotic things you can do in a democracy, which is to participate. Some of you know me, but many of you don't. So I just want to tell you a little bit about myself and my connection to Pine Plains. First of all, I've lived here, I've had a home here for 15 years, and I am a product of the Hudson Valley. I went to community college in the lower Hudson Valley. I graduated from community college with parents who never had a college education. Went to SUNY Albany, and from there went on and did several other degrees. I think of the Hudson as the base of what I call my personal space-time continuum. For those of you who are Star Trek fans, you will know what I'm talking about. This is was and is my home base. My record in leadership is demonstrated in many ways. I say to people, Google me, it's all there. But my strongest suit is my ability to listen and deliver on commitments. As demonstrated when I was president of the board of the library, the Free Library of Pine Plains. Thank you, Jim. And in that time, we raised additional funding, expanded programming, changed the times of the opening of the library so it reflected more what the community wants. I'm going to close this part quickly to tell you about myself, the essence of me, by quoting my 13 and 14-year-old grandsons, who I asked why people should vote for me. And so I quote, "It was a risky ask, if you know teenagers. But they said," and I quote, "Though she may be short, she's smart and very kind with a great sense of humor and will be able to come up with many ideas to make Pine Plains better, and because she is a good listener and thinks a lot about others." I have nothing else to add about the essential me.
Thank you. Okay. The next. The first question, and Mr. Zick will start this one off, is the town has spent considerable time and resources to develop it and update the town comprehensive plan with strong public participation so that the town would know what the residents want for our community. The question to the candidates is, how did they participate and which parts of the plan do they support and consider most important to implement? Sorry, 1.5 minutes.
Well, we had many meetings about the comprehensive plan review where we had a committee where people were allowed to submit questions to that committee. I believe it was a 10 or 11 person committee of people made up of the town. Recreation came in big, town revitalization came up big, and zoning. And we were able to change all the, well, we're working on changing it, but our zoning we just changed to help people out with their lots in town, moving setbacks. But I felt we got a lot of town's input from those things, and Dara puts out, our supervisor puts out a newsletter every week to let people know what is going on in town, and I know that that was in there for town participation. So, sorry if you guys did not get that. Yeah, we are too.
Mr. Ambrose? I feel like I just did that wrong.
You did.
Yes. Ms. Willis?
I am familiar with the strategic plan. I've been to several board meetings, and I have also taken time to go and visit the supervisor and ask for things to be explained to me. The things that I'm most interested in about the plan is the projections about economic development and sustained development, building a stronger community in Pine Plains through sustained economic development, and ways to bring families into the community, to stay in the community, especially our graduates. People graduate from high school and from college. I also am aware of the amount of money that our supervisor has raised to support these initiatives so that it doesn't come out of the tax base. And I imagine Darrell will say something about that. But the thing is, we're going to have a strategic plan. We need to have the resources to realize that plan. And I think that's in place.
Okay. Mr. Ambrose?
I'm not familiar with the town's comprehension plan, but I am willing to look at it and go from there and listen to the fellow community members.
Okay. The next question is, looking in the future, what do you think are the top 3 infrastructure needs in Pine Plains, and how do you propose to pay for them? Be specific.
Oh, it's on me. Instead it was on me, I thought you wanted me to get out my wallet. Okay. The top 3 items for me, as I've mentioned, is sustainable economic development. And I mean that through building on what's here and making it better, what I call farm, table, and tour, which I'm happy to talk more about. An idea suggested to me by one of the farm families here tonight. I want to keep families in Pine Plains, and I want to attract them to Pine Plains through housing that they can afford, and bringing the schools and our whole infrastructure up to snuff through making sure we get broadband and a waste management system so that we can have the businesses be able to run their businesses here.
Okay, thank you. The next speaker is Robert Ambrose.
I feel the big 3 things that are important are the Durst project, which could bring some considerable income to this town and people to the town. I believe that to see if the town needs a sewer system is a big project that could come about, and see if the members of the community actually do want it. And I would actually consider working on the park and making that more, building it up and make it more presentable.
Can you just repeat it just one more time for me? Sorry. I just want to hear it again.
Sure. I've been up here. Top 3 is, what are the 3 infrastructure projects, and why do you think they're important?
So the top 3, I would say, I would really like to see sidewalks put in all the way down to our recreation fields, allow people to be able to walk to and from, so this way when you just get to the outskirts of town, you don't feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere. The Durst project, I believe, is a big part, which would bring money, would bring jobs, would bring new people in, which would help us sustain a local downtown economic district. And the sewer system, I'm on the fence about, but it could be vital to our downtown. With double expansion of septic systems, some of those lots are not big enough to maintain the septic without keeping their full capacity. So it's something that we actually do have to look at. And right now, we have been able to get money through grants for all of that. So as a town, as a whole, we haven't had to put out any money yet. So depending on where we could go with that, I think that that is also a big one.
Okay, thank you. The next question, and now we're back to Mr. Ambrose first, is do you think that the availability of affordable housing is an important issue for Pine Plains? If so, what specific ideas do you have for addressing the issue?
feel that affordable housing could be a priority for the town. It could bring in a lot of community members, or more people to the community. It could expand jobs, more people would have work, and I think it would be a good asset to the community.
So affordable housing is very big. I mean, I feel that we have addressed that with our zoning changes, where we have now allowed for smaller lots in and outside of town, so new families are able to purchase these lots, start homes, and create a family, which could help us grow and thrive. Because if we can't get new families, new kids for the school, and if we don't get the people to support a business district, it's going to be very hard to maintain a business district. So yes, I believe affordable housing is very important.
I want to approach the question by sort of stating the problem. Why do we need affordable housing? If you just look to your neighbor, look around the room here and see who is here and what is the age cohort that we have in Pine Plains. If we want to be able to keep our seniors here and housed in housing that's decent, and if we also want you all who have kids who aren't in Pine Plains come back and have other people come, then there needs to be housing that they can afford, because the housing market is out of control, and we need to have housing that the whole spectrum of income can afford.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead along with the issues, and so this one is, what do you think about having a compost system, which I assume is a food waste collection system to compost food waste? And what do you think of that possibility, and would you consider implementing one?
I'm not really sure what that is. I believe we compost in our backyard, so I don't know on what scale you're actually looking for with the food composting system, but I mean, if it makes sense and we have the space and people want it, then I mean, I would have to look into it, I guess. So sorry about that, I do not know what that is.
When I think of town composting, I think mostly of urban areas who don't have the ability to compost. I'm not sure about any system of composting for the town. It's a new idea. I, however, do compost. My garden is very happy for it, and so is the environment. So I can only say, everybody compost. I don't know if we need a composting system in the town. No opinion. So, yeah.
Composting on a homeowner level or a small level, I can deal with. But like everybody said, I don't know how to do it on a town level, so I'd have to look into that more.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question is, what do you think the role of government is in safeguarding public health? So that would be Ms. Willis first.
I think there's a balance to be had in terms of protecting public health, but I do believe in public health. I believe that's why many of us are sitting here, because we don't have polio, and we didn't have to worry about polio and tuberculosis and a lot of communicable diseases. So I think there is a role for government to play in public health through education and, when necessary, setting guidelines, standards, and rules.
Yes. So we have Ambrose. Mr. Ambrose.
Public health is a very important topic to keep the public healthy and safe. And with that in line with government, I mean, it's just got to go hand in hand. Keeping your public and your community safe is top priority.
I feel that this is more of a question for the county legislators, because we normally follow all the mandates that come down from the county. We don't set any of our own public health safety issues. So, but yes, I'm wearing a mask tonight. My family wears a mask when we go out for public health, and so, yeah.
Okay, the next question, and again, it will be Robert Ambrose, is there, this is an opinion, but how would you work on kind of bringing together the people that have lived here a long time and those folks that have more recently moved here?
How would I bring together the, I should say, old timers of Pine Plains and the new timers? But it's just, you know, have community events, get everybody involved, bring everybody together, have a community day where it can bring in the older people and the newer people and just bring everybody together.
I think it's just people need to, who have been living here for a while, need to accept that new people are going to be moving in and old people are going to be moving out, and we're going to have an influx, and just get along with your neighbor. Go out, introduce them. Whenever I see anybody new move into my neighborhood, we go out, we reach out, we introduce ourselves. Everybody's new at one time, and you were new to a place at one point too, so I like to treat that person how I would, you know, like to be received. So I think that that's like the important thing, like new people bring new ideas that could help our town, you know. We gotta be open to new ideas.
Sorry. I think one of the ways, we've all talked about ways of coming together, and one of the things about old timers and new timers is the town needs a bigger tax base to do the kinds of things people want. And in order to create that tax base, we need more people to move in, and we need more people, more kids in the schools. And so one of the main things is when you bring people in and you're all working on behalf of the community, you make it a better community and you can expand the tax base. But I also think just having fun together, everything has been so intense and so hard and so loaded. And there have been things that have happened in town, like the Ag Fair. You know, there are fun things that we all share and care about, like our farms and our restaurants and our other businesses. And I think one of the ways we come together is doing something fun and working together hard on things that we all can agree have to happen in the town.
I wanted to say that there's, I think, 4 seats up here. If you want to we could take a minute and you can try to find a seat. Is anyone interested in sitting down, coming all the way to the front, sitting down?
It's always that front row. Nobody wants
Yeah.
to sit in the front.
You can come and get the chair and move it in the back. Okay, well, I made the offer. The next question, which is going to start out with Mr. Zick, is there's 2 that I'm trying to combine here. So it is, how do you encourage rational development without ruining Pine Plains? And the other one that's kind of similar is, what kind of oversight does the town have on large construction projects and large development?
Larger developments have to go through the planning board to come in. I don't believe the planning board would allow anything that would bring in homes to ruin Pine Plains, and I don't think bringing in new homes is ruining Pine Plains. I feel that we do need a dense town population, so there is a lot of vacant land in and around town here that I would like to see homes on, and I don't think that that's going to ruin Pine Plains. I feel it's going to give it more of a town feel where, you know, people will be walking more out and about, supporting our local businesses. without ruining the town. And large developments, as long as they're done properly, they could be really nice for a town and bring a lot of money into Pine Plains that we haven't had before. So.
I think we have, can have a two-pronged strategy. I mentioned this a little bit before. One is to build on what's here. People always think when you're going to develop, you're going to bring something in from the outside. We have a lot of talent in our community and a lot of opportunity with our farms and our restaurants to build on those farms in relationship to each other and to promoting the town. So the first strategy is identifying what's here and how we can best build on what's here to encourage people to come here. And the second is that, you know, I don't think anybody in this room, I could be mistaken, is really wanting to have a lot of housing in the town. We came here for a certain reason. And so I think our planning board, I trust that our planning board and the process and the people who are on it will make sure that they are, in fact, protecting the rural nature of our community, which is, I think, what we all agree on.
Any major construction that goes on in the town is going to go through the planning board, and then it would filter down from there. So the planning board's going to look out for the best interest of the town, just like the town board's going to. And they're going to keep everything the way they see it fit. I want to see Pine Plains grow, and I want to see Pine Plains better.
Thank you. The next question is, how much time do you have on a weekly basis to dedicate to your position as a town board member? And we're going to take Ms. Willis first.
Again, this is a two-pronged question. One is how much time does it really take, and how much time do you have? So if you've gone to town board meetings and been involved, you know that there is a limited number of hours that you're assigned as a board member. It will honestly always take more hours. That is why we don't have thousands of people rushing to be running for town board. And so I work from home, and so my hours are predicted. I have complete control over that. But I do think that it takes more time than people think. And to that point, I want to thank our current board for the. Okay, cut off. She's done. I was just saying thank you. And we have Robert Ambrose.
How many hours am I able to put into the town board? That's a tough question. I'm able to put in whatever it takes to be a member of the town board.
Okay, Mr. Zick.
So I found out that it does take a lot of time to be on the town board, between answering phone calls, answering emails, going down to an ice rink at 3 o'clock in the morning because it's the only time that you can make ice. And it takes also a family commitment. If I didn't have my wife to be able to help me out in it, I don't think I would be able to do it. We're fortunate enough that I primarily stay home with the kids. I do have a small business of my own, so I am flexible with my hours, but I make the time and figure out the time on how to get things done by doing things either late or weekends, and just getting through all the material that I need to get through.
And we're done, right? Okay, we're going to go on to the next question. And most of these questions are about your ability and the other experience you've had, and so on. So you've covered that a little bit, and you can cover it also in your closing remarks. But I will ask what do you hope to accomplish as a member of the town board? And yeah, I'm just going to ask that. What do you hope to accomplish as a member of the town board?
As a member of the town board, I hope to accomplish a lot of projects that are ongoing in town right now, and I just want to make Pine Plains grow and make Pine Plains better.
One of the reasons I am running for re-election is there are a few things that I do want to see through that we're already working on. I would really, in this term, I would love to see us be able to move our town hall down to the town center. Our recreation, we revamped the recreation department, we're getting the new playground, we're looking into getting lights down at the ball field and redoing those fields. I would really like to see that happen as well. And just the town working together, all the departments, from the firehouse to the water district, to the school, to the highway department, to the town, just everybody being on the same page and working together. Because if we feud over little things, then things won't get done. And that's what I would like to see in the next 4 years.
What I would like to see is the accomplishment of the priorities that were laid out in the comprehensive plan. This planning has been going on for 20 years. A lot of different people in town have been involved in that process. So the first thing I would say, let's look to the work that's already been done and prioritize what's in the comprehensive plan. Within that, I would say that the waste treatment system in town is a very high priority. And also, I must, as the former president of the board of the library, say, I always think our libraries are a good investment and a good way to bring the community together and be able to provide opportunities for people to learn about the issues in the comprehensive plan and other kinds of important matters of the town.
Okay. We all set on that question? Okay. So if you could just discuss a little bit more the skills and experience that you think that you can use in this position, and including any specific things, like if you've been on town committees, and we know you have an incumbent here, so that's a little different, but any experience, skills, including creating and balancing budgets or raising funds and so on, that's important for the town board. Okay. So Willis.
I've had the privilege of being a public servant for 40 years. I've worked at the local level, the state level, the national level, and I work globally. I lead organizations, and my work brings me now both around the United States and globally. And in that capacity, I've always been a high-ranking senior official, if you will, and so have had to develop budgets, policies, work with ministers from other countries. And I always said, when I've been doing that work, there's nothing like local politics to get you ready to be leading on issues in complex situations. I've managed budgets very, very large and very, very small. And as I said, my experience is all over Google. I have written, I have been a researcher, I have been an executive, I have been a commissioner, I have been many things. And yes, I am that old.
Okay, Mr. Ambrose.
As I said before, I was on the Board of Fire Commissioners for 5 years for the district, where I presented our budgets to the town. And then on the other side of that, I was assistant chief, and I was the chief of the fire company, where I've had to work for the taxpayers, and I've had to look out for their best being. Looking out for the community is priority number one. and watching my taxpayers, and my community members and everything.
So one of the most important things, I think, is being a good listener and communicator, because it's not what we want, it's technically we work for you guys, and what the town as a whole wants. So I think it's more to be able to listen to the people of the town on what they want and to see it through. I am a good communicator, I can stay on top of things, I can get projects done. I helped negotiate one of between the town and the fire department between a water dispute. We were able to execute getting the ice rink in the first year here, and we were able to keep that up. We had almost 45 skating days last winter, which was free of charge to everybody in the town, which gave people things to do, and that was just all on a volunteer basis. So I would say follow through and getting things done is one of the most important skills to have.
Thank you. Okay, the next question, this is going to be the last one before your wrap up. So, how do you define good government? And I believe we are back to Mr. Ambrose. Is that right?
Yes.
How do I define good government? Good government is government that looks out for your community, looks out for its taxpayers, and watches over its people.
I agree with Robert there. Good government is looking out for your constituents' best interests, not what you want to see done, and controlling and putting down mandates, seeing what the town people actually want and working with them and seeing that that goes through. I mean, I wish more people came to our town board meetings and had more input for us, but sometimes we only, hear something and we only hear it too late where we can't do anything to help out. But we work for you guys, so the more input you guys have, that's how government would work the best, is the feedback from the people.
Briefly, there are a lot of elements to good government, but number one for me is transparency. What's going on, what's happening with the budget, where is it being spent, who's making what decisions where and for who. The second point for good governance is engaging citizens, not just like this, but in like the workshops that our current supervisor conducts, so people can participate and have their voices expressed and heard. And the third is the processes we use to make policies and enforce them. And we have a very good system in Pine Plains. We have county government, you'll hear. And, basically I think democracy works. And when you live by the tenets of democracy and engage the citizens and give them their voice, that is the strongest suit for any government.
Thank you. So is everyone set on that question? We can go to the your final wrap up. Okay, so you each have 2 minutes to just say whatever you want in this part. And so this will be Mr. Zick first.
Well, I would like to start off by thanking the League of Women's Voters for moderating this event. And I would also like to thank Robert and Diana for coming and running for a position. Like Diana said, it is one of the most important things that you can do as a citizen is to run for a local office. Again, I'm really focused on the recreation, bringing the town hall down to town and see a revitalized town center. I hope that I can gain your support for another 4 years. If anybody would like to contact me and ask me any kind of questions, I live right in the middle of town. People can stop by whenever they want. The people who do call me know that I do get right back to them. Email takes just a little bit longer. But other than that, the one thing I want to say is I do want to ensure that Pine Plains is a safe and thriving community to raise my family and welcome everyone, both new and established, in the future. Thank you.
Stick with Zick.
I just want to say that if leadership experience is important to you, and I really hope that it is, I promise to provide you with the leadership that I have provided over 40 years in a variety of settings. And I know we can go forward as a community and do very exciting things. So I also want to thank all the people, like what Matt said, so I'm not going to use my time to thank everybody. But also to say these have been really hard times for everybody, with COVID and schools and whatever. And I hope that we as a community can find a way to begin to heal ourselves and our community, because it's not just our community, it's every one of us who have been separated from loved ones, lost people in this time. So I really want to find a way for us to get through these hard times together. I think we may be on the other side of some of it, but I look at everybody here and I have to say, I'm just so happy to see you in person. I mean, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. It is such an honor to be here and such a relief to see people face to face. So I won't get emotional, but I look at all of you and I just say thank you.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and participating in this. And I also want to make sure that you guys all know that I am here to work for you. You guys are the voice of this town. You can tell us, you come to us and tell us what you want and what you need. And then we can go from there. But I'm here to work for you guys.
Okay, thank you very much. Candidates. Now I would like to ask that the supervisors come up, Brian Walsh and Dara Cloud, and then we'll start that. Dara will be starting. And so while they get in, again, just some other things. There are some seats up here. There is water over on the, along those windows over there. And I also wanted to make sure you remember that there is a voter's guide for this year for the state of New York from the League of Women Voters, and I really hope that you will take a copy and otherwise learn about the issues, because there are 5 state proposals that you have to vote on besides local issues and, of course, the candidates that you're seeing right now. That is on the table in the back, and unless they're all gone. Okay, so now we have Brian and Dara, and thank you for getting the mics. And so we're going to start with Dara, so she has 2 minutes for introduction.
Okay. I'm Dara Cloud. I have lived here for 24 years. And I'm in the 2nd term of being town supervisor. In that time, I've written and won over $200,000 in grants and found new revenues to enhance our very small budget to keep taxes level, launched the comprehensive plan update and consequent zoning review, which opened up our zoning so that seniors might stay in their properties in accessory dwellings, thereby opening up affordable housing, and land in the hamlet is zoned correctly for new homes and businesses. I helped realize the first step comprehensive plan goal for bringing town hall back into town by acquiring land on the municipal parking lot ideal for the location, I implemented the Hometown Heroes Project. I started a newsletter to keep people informed about what's going on in government, launched a sewer feasibility study to bring a central wastewater system to the business district, to secure economic development for the town, and that anyone might be able to afford to start a business here. I work to have us certified as a clean energy community and climate smart community, which saved us at least $5,000 a year in energy costs and earned us more grant money. I want to continue that kind of work with the town board.
Okay, thank you. Next, Brian.
Good evening. Thank you, everybody, for coming. My name is Brian Walsh.
I think you and I are.
Or you might be too close to the speaker.
Oh, you're too close to the speaker. You just want to move everything down?
Stand right in the middle.
That's
Let me try this again. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. My name is Brian Walsh. I'm running for town supervisor. I lived in Pine Plains my whole life, 39 years, born and raised here. I want to make this community good as it's always been. Any ideas given to me will be taken into consideration. It's what the people want. That's what you'll get.
Okay, thank you. So the way that this works, because there's only 2 candidates, Brian will now ask the next, he'll be the first to ask the next question. And there are lots of questions, so. I'm going to ask the same question that was asked to the board. How much time do you have on a weekly basis to dedicate to the position of supervisor?
Simple answer to that is I have the amount of time that it takes to get the job done to accomplish what needs to be accomplished.
It's a 24/7 job. My first day in office, the boiler went out at the highway department, and that was it. I started right away. It was New Year's Day. I'm often in contact with the police late at night. I have the time because I have a flexible schedule because I teach online. So I've been able to spend a lot of time at town hall, and most people know that they can kind of drop in on me pretty much any time. I'm always available, and I'm always on my email and on my text for people to reach me.
Okay, thank you. Could you discuss specifically how the town can assist with affordable housing and also strengthening the town center? So it's really 2 questions. Let's just do town. Can we just do housing and then we'll go to town center?
Sure.
So affordable housing.
I helped found the Tri-Town Coalition on Affordable Housing with Millerton and Amenia. And what we're trying to do is figure out a way to do this, to have affordable housing here that everyone can stomach and that will, support itself. We also just did the rezoning, which is very important because now you will be able to build an accessory dwelling on your property, if you're in the hamlet especially, and move into it when you get to the certain age where you don't want to be in your big house anymore. That's really a big difference in what we had before. Then you can rent out your big house or let your children move into it. And to me, that's a huge step towards affordable housing. That's easy. And I'll just stop there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, well, turn the volume down for one, you're up too loud.
How do you do that?
I think that makes sense, but there might be a little.
I can shout. I bet you can too.
All right, well, it wasn't that bad.
Try standing in front of the, this needs to go forward.
Oh, okay. Take the water with it. We'll take the flag.
As long as you're standing behind the mic, the speaker, you should be good. If you stand near the speaker, you're going to...
What about me?
You
Should I
can
move me back?
turn it down a little bit too.
Okay, as far as affordable housing, as the current town supervisor said, the zoning has been changed, or in the process of being changed, to have that second home, that second dwelling on your property. This will help with affordable housing. Do we need affordable housing? Yes, we do. We need to expand this community, and working together, we can do this. Not necessarily one thing, I think will solve this problem, but working together, we can figure out exactly what that is.
Okay, thank you. The next question for you is to talk about strengthening the town center.
Strengthening the town center. First off, we need to finish the town center. We need to get the park up to snuff, finish projects that we started, dress the town center up, fix some sidewalks, expand on what we have to start with. We need to move forward, not backwards. That's what we need.
It's already in process, and here's what I think. That central septic system is really important for economic development. We cannot get development here without it. I've had so many discussions about this with potential business owners and developers who all say, the first thing they ask is, do you have a central wastewater system? I'm going to try to get back here. So that has been work I have done with the board as long as I've been in office. The town park, just because Brian mentioned it, is in process. We have a wonderful committee, a town beautification committee, that's been working really hard on it, but we're in a supply crisis for a lot of the stuff that we were putting into it, so it will be a beautiful place. I think the sidewalks are an issue, and having town hall in the middle of town makes democracy present in town.
Okay, thank you for that. And then I want to just, I know there was a tragic accident, and this question is about whether or not a siren can be put back or fixed, or something to warn, to let residents know. So this would be about fixing the siren.
I'll address that issue right for you. That is a fire district issue, not a town issue, actually.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Okay. All right. So there seems to be a couple questions besides the town center, very specifically about the sewer system, so I'm just going to give you a chance to spend another minute or so on more details about the sewer system, who will benefit from it, where we are in the process, and what your, I guess, your opinion of it is. So, I think that's right.
Well, obviously I'm for it. I've been working on it very hard for many years. It's been hard to reach some of the players in the process, especially the Catholic Archdiocese, which I was finally able to reach just in the past few months. They are eager to work with us. I don't know how that will look. And I think it will bring the economic development that we need to sustain ourselves. And sustainability is one of those, buzzwords, but it's really important because we need to provide our kids with something to stay for. And believe it or not, this kind of infrastructure is key to that.
As far as the sewer system, I don't know that I'm completely against it or for it. Basically, the way I would look at this would be, it would be ultimately up to the voters. If they vote yes, then we move forward. If they vote no, then we don't. Ultimately, it's not one individual or one board's decision. It should be everybody's decision in regards to that, because it's going to affect everybody.
Okay, thank you. So this again, given that the town comprehensive plan was developed with strong community input as an expression of community desires, which goals of the plan do you believe are most important to implement? And so that is Brian first.
I'm not really 100% up to date and familiar with that plan, so I can't really answer that question correctly on that. I'll be more than happy to look further into that and to understand that better.
Okay, Dara?
Well, all the things tonight that we've just been discussing are in the comprehensive plan. And especially improving the hamlet, improving economic development, maintaining the rural character of the town, controlling development so that we get something that is built to provide jobs for people, and also at the same time saves our environment. All of these things are in the comprehensive plan.
Okay, I have two questions about the many things that are going on in town and how you propose to move these ahead, balancing the taxes and finding other sources of revenue. So the ones that were specifically mentioned, which I'm not familiar with, is already the town hall, the sewer, the park at South and Church, Main and Church, and a beach playground. But how do you propose to move these ahead and balance the try not to raise taxes, or how are these going to be funded? Yeah.
Okay, the only way I think we can do this is through grants. All this infrastructure we're talking about, all these huge dreams that the comprehensive plan contains, requires attracting money here that we don't have, and that is key. So the ability to write grants is just key to our future.
I agree, 100% grants are needed, but at the same time, we also need the money to offset the grants, because you're not always guaranteed to get 100% of the project through a grant. So when we get the grant, we need the money to back up the grant to finish the project, so we have 100% completed projects. But you're 100% right, without raising taxes, grants are the way that we get this money.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so there were also questions about your experience to be in this job, and I know this is difficult because we have one incumbent, but can you discuss some of the skills and experience that you have that make you prepared for this job as supervisor, and how, especially about, there were some questions about grant writing that you could bring into that. So that is Brian first.
Experience. I don't have the experience on the political level as far as the town. However, as far as the fire department, I've run the fire department as chief the last 6 years. Previous to that, I was a commissioner for 5 years. I dealt with budgets all the time. Budgets aren't anything new to me. I've also applied for grants through the fire department. We've received grants to purchase new gear and new equipment. Saves the taxpayers money, yes, it does, and it needs to be done. That's, as far as leadership, that's what I have. I've been for this community for, like I said, the last 6 years as a leader in the fire industry.
I always say that my experience in the theater set me up perfectly for working in government and politics. But, and it did, because it made me love systems, it made me love organization, it made me love people, because one of the, one of the requirements of being a good playwright is being empathetic and loving even your most difficult characters. So I will say that first of all. I restarted the business association here, which is how I got into realizing that I could perhaps run for town supervisor. And I see a connection with all of these kind of, you know, different community committees. So it was a valuable experience to rekindle that. We created a website, we created dues again, we met a lot, and we felt a sense of community in business. And it was a really great experience and taught me a lot. And I've been in office now 4 years, and I'm just about getting used to figuring out how to do it.
I'm going to try to move this one.
No, you did it, you moved it.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see, right? We're going to test it out. Okay, I'm going to ask you the same question we asked the town board. How do you feel about having a town-wide composting system?
Well, if we end up having a lot of people renting, we're going to have to figure that one out if we want to, if we want to be an exemplary, clean energy community. So I think that we are perfectly poised to figure this out, being an agricultural community. And we'd have to find the space to do it. We'd have to build probably a cinder block thing, like a manure pile is put in. But I don't know actually the specific details of that, but I think it's well worth looking into.
Okay, Brian?
That would be something we'd have to look into. You got me on that one.
I used to work for the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, so I could probably answer those questions for you some other time. Okay, you've already talked about several infrastructure projects, but are there any others that are needs in Pine Plains? And what are they, and how would you propose to pay for them?
I definitely feel that we definitely need to upgrade our ball fields and our sports program. The kids are our future. Back when I used to play, you used to be able to drive down there, but you wouldn't be able to find a parking spot. All those fields were full. Everybody was playing. Everybody was having fun. Over the years, our numbers have dwindled down. That brings into the affordable housing aspect. You bring more families in, you bring more children in, bring more children to the school, you bring more recreation. Kids are the backbone of this community. There's not that many here right now, but it can grow, and it should grow.
Okay.
I think that if we could get the 3 biggies accomplished, the town hall in town and the wastewater system and sidewalks, they would, the effect of that would trickle down to recreation. But also we need trails and bikeways. I think that enhancing those kinds of things would bring people, the right people here, people who love being outdoors and love the preservation of land to the town, but also it would make us happy. And I think we deserve to be happy. I agree about the recreation. I would love to see the ball fields improved and the beach. And the beach. That is an ongoing battle with nature. And it's been hard to figure that out. So those are the ancillary things that I would try to do. And again, a lot of that is manpower and a lot of that is more grants.
Okay, thank you. I'm also going to ask you both to address to bringing together the people that are considered local and those that are considered not from here. And that will be your last question before you wrap up.
I have an idea about this. I just learned about something called citizen assemblies. And this is a thing you do where you choose people, you kind of draft them like juries. And you choose people from all walks of life in a town, and you ask them to come, let's say, once a month and gather and talk to each other. We could do it right in this room, big round tables. We could do it for 6 months. We could do it for a year. We could do it for a standing thing. This process, which I'm studying, is incredible for the exchange of ideas, for teaching people who each other is. And it's being used now around the world as a way to keep participatory, deliberative democracy alive. And that's how I would do it.
Okay, thank you.
Community Day. We used to have it, I can't remember how long ago, we've had it a couple times. You just need to have a community day, encourage everybody to attend, have events for every age group. If you have events for little kids, you're going to get grandparents to bring out the little kids. The younger generation is going to meet the older generation. You have to push the issue as far as the community day. Get everybody out, get your neighbor out. Community day is the key to get everybody out together.
I'm going to ask one more question. This is about the encouraging growth and rational development. So how do you propose to encourage growth in the community and still preserve the nature of Pine Plains?
Brian.
Repeat that first. Repeat that again, please.
Encouraging development, and it's not just housing development, but any kind of development, I believe, and encouraging growth and development in the community.
Growth in the community, we need to grow. We need to bring new people in. We need to bring the younger generation in. We just need to be more open. We need to be affordable housing. You bring affordable housing in, you're going to bring families in. When you bring families in, expands further. Word of mouth. Pine Plains is a great place to live. I've lived here my whole life. Encourage people to come visit Pine Plains. You know someone that's looking for a home? Encourage them. Come visit Pine Plains. Pine Plains is unique. It's a unique little community. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody gets along for the most part. There are a few arguments, but everybody's there for anybody when something happens. That's Pine Plains. That needs to be, everybody needs to know that. We need to get that out there.
I think we need broadband for everybody everywhere in town because it's an economic driver. People would come here if they could work at home. And the students need to be able to work at home when we have something like a pandemic. I think the infrastructure, again, I sound like a broken record, but infrastructure is key because no developer will come here without it, and businesses cannot sustain themselves without adequate wastewater because of the way the law is. We need to be a welcoming place. Get off Facebook. Get off Facebook and stop it. This is ridiculous, and it doesn't make the town look good. And encourage participation. I think that we need to be more deliberative. We need to welcome more people into the town hall to participate in government. And we could figure out a way to kind of get that going here. And I think it would really change things. And that welcoming aspect would be enhanced.
Okay, thank you very much. You now have 2 minutes to tell us anything more that you would like to do, or to talk about, rather.
Me first. Okay. Well, I think that we need to heal the rift between what I will call the weekenders and the townspeople, or the people who are from here and the people who are not from here. I like the idea of our having a community day, but I've always thought of Ag Day as that. We could expand that, or we could do something else. I also really like this idea of the citizen assembly, something that is an ongoing participatory group that keeps talking about town issues and advises the town board. I want to see town hall in the hamlet to ensure that anyone can reach the voting booth and come in to pay their taxes and meet the town supervisor. Having it a mile outside town doesn't work for people without cars. It's not equitable. And the infrastructure idea is about equity too. Anyone should be able to start a business in this town. And it's terrible that one has to have a ton of money in order to start something here, or even sustain something long enough for it to get going. That ought to be just something anyone with a dream can do.
Okay, thank you.
Big goals. Start projects, finish them, then start another project. Complete some stuff that's started. Get things done. Bring Pine Plains up to where it needs to be without changing the unique aspect of Pine Plains itself. Pine Plains, like I said before, is unique. It needs to stay unique. That's why we all live here. That's why we all love it.
Okay.
Let's address the pink shirt first and foremost, because that's what a lot of people ask me about tonight. About 14 years ago, a good dear friend of mine was diagnosed with breast cancer. She asked me to shave my head. And I said, I can't do that, but I will tell you for the rest of my life, I will wear a pink shirt every day in October to commemorate breast cancer awareness. So that's the pink shirt. I've done a lot for the communities. I think everybody here that has called me, asked me questions, has gotten a satisfactory result out of that thing. You know, Pine Plains, Northeast, Stanford, Milan, it's my home. I've done whatever I could do to make those towns better. I wanted to answer every town supervisor and every town board question, having spent 12 years as the supervisor here. So, you know, it was very interesting. I congratulate all the candidates for doing that. They're very good. Briefly, we've lowered taxes for the last 8 years. We're now experiencing in the county the largest tax cut in recorded history in Dutchess County for land taxes. We had a meet the candidates 2 years ago in the annex at Millerton. Dick Herman's brought up about the clothing sales tax. So it was a good idea. So we've eliminated the sales tax on clothing of $110. That's the statutory limit of, that we can do in Dutchess County. So we're doing things to help you. Expanding veterans services in Dutchess County. Expanding mental health. We have the most robust mental health facility and programs, not in the state, in the nation. We have California's coming to look at our stabilization center. Illinois has come and looked at our stabilization center. I'm telling you, we're doing great things in Dutchess County. I'm proud to be your legislator. More to follow.
So like Greg, I'm pretty loud. I'm the youngest of 5 kids in an Irish Catholic family, so I'm not used to using a microphone to amplify, but I'm going to try so that everybody can hear me tonight. My name is Claire Owens, and I'm probably the only person in this room, other than the moderators, that is not from Pine Plains. I live over in Millerton, where I'm a caretaker for my mom, who had a stroke 3 years ago, and I also work with nonprofits and political candidates that are helping to bring services to the most vulnerable in our communities. I've dedicated my career mostly to veteran services, working for Wounded Warrior Project, as well as Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. I know that veterans are super important to Pine Plains. I'm super jealous of your hometown heroes. I wish we had that in every town around here. But I'm gonna use this opportunity just to share a little bit about what I think we need. In the northeast corner of Dutchess, we've been forgotten about. We don't have nearly the services or resources that many of the bigger towns and cities like Poughkeepsie and even Kingston have. And it's time that we have an ally in the legislature that will focus on our area. It was disappointing to hear that $12.5 million of the first $16 million of the American Rescue Plan funds went to Dutchess Stadium, to a luxury club box, when that money could have come to our towns. I know that Millerton, where I live, we're getting $200,000 to help with our wastewater system, to put in a sewer system in our main street area. Imagine if that could have been matched by the county, rather than going to a baseball stadium. We can make transformative change that way. So I just think that it's time that we have somebody that will look out for our families, for our district, for our businesses. And I'm excited to share some more of my thoughts and hear your questions and get to know all of you. And I want to say thank you so much for being here tonight, because like many people have already said, this is the most important part of democracy, is to participate and to hear from each other and share your ideas. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so there were 2 questions about the stadium. So I guess I'm going to just ask both of them more. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. There apparently 20% of the funds for the American Rescue Plan went to renovations at Dutchess Stadium, and how would you
propose using the rest of the funds? So Claire Owens is first on that.
And I don't want you all to think that I'm knocking on the Renegades, even though they are an affiliate of the Yankees, and I'm a diehard Mets fan, but we can talk about that later. I think that, like I mentioned, being able to match what some of the municipalities are doing with the money that they're getting from the ARP would be really wonderful. You know, that could double the impact or triple the impact. I know that the legislature has put forth some really great ideas for mental health services. We'll also be getting funds from an opioid settlement that needs to go directly to mental health and addiction services and not spread out elsewhere. So I think this is more of a question, I think, overall about how our money from the county down should be spent. It should be spent on the resources that our district needs. Resources that fit the infrastructure, like Dara was saying, for affordable housing, broadband, sewer systems. Not one of the towns in our district has a supermarket. We have PEX over here, but PEX has limited hours and it's not always feasible for people to get there. And so we really do need to invest in our infrastructure. And if we don't, we can't grow and we can't thrive. So we need to make sure that the legislature is putting money towards the important things that impact your lives and not pet projects or paying back bonds that we've taken out on other issues.
Thank you. So we took $12.5 million. We received $56 million, $28 million this year, $28 million last year of American Rescue Funds. We had already spent that $12 million on programs. This was repaying that $12 million that we already paid for, if you catch my drift on that. So we had an opportunity, rather than bond out an issue at a county park, which is what Dutchess Stadium is, a county park, to do the upgrades that are needed. Not for the New York Yankees or anybody else, but for the rest of it. I mean, the amount that stadium gets used for other things other than Renegades is amazing. That being said, we have provided grants to Northeast, grants to Pine Plains for their sewer studies. We've provided $250,000, going to be up to $328,000 for Eddie Collins Memorial Park. We did $50,000 to this library, $50,000 to the Stanford Library, $50,000 to the Northeast Library. I have brought millions of dollars back to the community. And anybody that doesn't know that, maybe you should run for a different office. We are more than represented in the Northeast. We've had some great legislators in the past, including 2 former chairmen of the legislature. I'm the third. We get far more per capita than a lot of other towns in Dutchess County up in this neck of the woods. And again, it's based on population too. Of course the city of Poughkeepsie gets more money. They have a third of the population of the county there. Of course they're going to do that. But we can talk about that later.
Okay. The next question is to give, apparently there's been recent redistricting efforts, and what is your opinion on the redistricting efforts?
So we did 3 things. I made 3 goals when I was chairman of the legislature. Strong ethics law. We passed the strongest ethics law in New York State, far exceeding the state law. Term limits. We created term limits in the legislature. 12 years, you're out. Can't run again. And we went for independent redistricting, the trifecta of good government. We believe that an independent, a truly independent, non-political group should write the districts, or should form the districts, write the map for legislative districts. We've done that in Dutchess County. We believe in it. It was something that I wanted to do. I mean, I also created, the other thing we did was create an animal abuse registry, which I put right up there with those 3 things as far as accomplishments that we have done in Dutchess County. But they all came from my office, from my desk. So I'm proud of that. And I think it's like I said, I think it's the trifecta of good government in Dutchess County.
Okay.
I also, I'm not as well read into the redistricting issue as Greg may be, but I do know that he also unilaterally disbanded it. even though the people of Pine Plains and the rest of our district voted for it. And it's still in the courts being figured out, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed immediately, because the people spoke and they chose that they wanted an independent redistricting committee, and now it no longer stands. So it has not done the work yet.
Okay, and then apparently the citizens, the voters of Dutchess County will be voting on the size of the legislature, and could you speak to that?
So again, since I'm not as well read in, I don't want to espouse on it too much. But I don't think that it's necessary to lower the amount of legislators. In fact, I think that maybe we could use more. Our district is one of the biggest districts in the entire county, capital-wise, or land-wise, mileage-wise. And I think that it would be important to be able to have voices on the legislature that can speak to what's going on in our communities.
Well, since districts are drawn by population, we're always going to have the largest land mass of a district. It has not affected my ability to meet with town supervisors or create good plans for our communities. As far as the downsizing, we used to have a 35-member legislature. We downsized to 25. And the idea was that once you move up in government, you go from a town board to a legislature to an assembly person to state senator, you gain responsibilities with that, and you gain legislature or constituents. There are towns in Dutchess County, Fishkill, East Fishkill, Wappinger, that have more, that a town council person has more constituents than the county legislator from that area. So we're just trying to make sure we even that field. And as far as the independent redistrict, the plan is still there. I did not unilaterally. First of all, I had nothing to do with the disbanding of the current board. 2 ineligible members were put on it. Our attorneys said that they were that null and void because of the fruit of the poison tree. Or help me on that. But and so it is in court, and we will have a brand new group of people drawing the district. And again, because we think it should be independent. We don't think that elected officials, even though they were disqualified, should be on it, and they happen to put 2 elected officials on it. So we voted as a legislature to do that. But it will come back, and it will be in place before the next map drawing. So let's get clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. We asked a question about what the responsibility of government was to protect the public health. So can you answer that from the perspective of county government? Sure.
So we met head on with COVID. Dr. Vidian, who happened to be he's since retired, but Dr. Vidian was the head of the Board of Health, our doctor, happened to be an infectious disease guru. So we had plans in place before the state really had plans in place. We had to wait to implement some of those things. But I think we got inoculations out. I think the Medical Reserve Corps did an outstanding job. A couple of people here were down at JCPenney and making sure people, NASA here in town, I mean, God, give that man a round of applause right now. Nasser and his volunteers did God's work out there in making sure people got inoculated. But we were on it from day one. I canceled 1 meeting in the legislature in March because we had no clue how to Zoom. We had no clue whether we should even meet in public. So we postponed 1 meeting, but during that time, all the legislators worked with their town supervisors, making sure that seniors got groceries. I mean, I went out and delivered prescriptions for people that were afraid to get out at the time because we knew nothing about this disease. Remember those early dark days. So I'm proud of what the county did. And yes, the county is a forefront of health for the...
I have to agree with Mr. Pulver. I know that you all here in Pine Plains did an incredible job throughout COVID. You were incredibly well organized. I was really lucky to be a volunteer that helped call seniors to help them get their COVID shot scheduled. So I was very proud to be a small part of that. When it comes to government, you know, I know it's a very, very controversial topic when it comes to, you know, mask wearing and things like that. But I do think that we have to show leadership from the top down. I know in the legislature right now, there is no mask requirement because the Republican majority has not instituted one. And I know that a legislator just recently got COVID. Not saying that that's where it happened, but you never know. So I do think that the government has a role to play in ensuring that the public safety stays in mind. And obviously we listen to the county, we listen to the state, we listen to the federal government. And I think that there should be leadership from top down and have things be completely transparent and across the board the same for everybody.
Okay, thank you. What do you hope to do for the legislative district that you're running for if you are elected?
So a lot of this goes back to that infrastructure issue. I know that all the towns in our district, we lack affordable broadband, or really any broadband, affordable and accessible housing, supermarkets, sewer systems, and I think that with the help of the county, we can achieve those goals. And you know, we keep hearing about grants. And that's like our job in the legislature, is to find the money to help offset the burden on the municipalities. So really working as a partner with our towns and as a partner with the rest of the legislature, however you agree or don't agree, to make sure that you are doing the best for the greater good.
Thank you.
So our job in the legislature is to support our towns. When Derek Cloud comes to me and says, I want to do a study on a sewer system in Pine Plains, whether I agree with it or not agree with it, doesn't matter. She wanted it. We got the funding to get her the study done. For, you know, no charge to the town. When the village of Millerton wants to do something, it's my job to go out and support them. And I've done a very good job of it. I mean, I've been here in 8 years in the legislature. Look back at the track record. I mean, I could talk all night, as most of you know I can talk all night. But I could talk all night about the accomplishments of what we've done as a group. You know, Chris Kennan from Millerton, you know, he calls me up, I need this, I need that, my highway garage. We get it done. That's what we do. And I think moving forward, we'll continue that. As I said, we do a lot to support the towns with MIG grants, with other grants. The fire company, somebody mentioned about a siren. I will tell you right now, if the district comes to us for a siren, we'll get them a siren. Marcus put $1 million in the budget for grants to fire companies. I added the $1 million on my side of the budget, so we're going to have $2 million for fire companies to put in for grants, and maybe that grant is for the siren for the fire company. So, you know, that's what we do.
Thank you. Can you speak to bringing affordable housing to this area in regards to the district and the county? Sure.
I mean, again, it's the same thing. It's not top down. The county doesn't come down and tell towns that they need affordable housing. We work with we have consultants from the county on the tri-state or tri-town consortium for affordable housing. If a town decides to do it, we help them accomplish that. That's what the county legislature does. And I will tell you that we have had we have a great planning department in Poughkeepsie. Owen Rafter, the commissioner, does a fantastic job. He will work with the towns. He will find grant money to do certain things with. And that's what we do. We don't dictate to a town what they want. They want a sewer system, we'll help support that. They want affordable housing, we help support that. That's what we do. We talk to the town supervisors and the town boards and make things happen.
So, some of you may know this, some of you may not, but 32% of our county is made up of renters, and the median rent is $1,200 for a two-bedroom apartment or a two-bedroom house. For so many, that's not achievable. I know I live with my mom, and if I have her, helping me out, I don't know if I would be able to afford to live in Millerton myself or even Pine Plains. And so, we need to make sure that those people who couldn't afford to live here normally would be welcomed. My family dealt with homelessness and food insecurity when I was growing up, and my goal as a legislator is to make sure that none of my neighbors have to deal with those kinds of challenges. I believe that a good government is a government that works for its people. I myself am on the Tri-Town Coalition for Affordable Housing, and we have had a lot of difficulty getting buy-in from different levels of government, from the county, from the towns, because it is such a tough issue to deal with. And so I desperately think that we need it. When you think of affordable housing, you think of one thing, but really what it is housing for teachers, housing for seniors, housing for young people just getting out of high school or college, people that want to work in our businesses, but can't because they can't afford to live where they work.
Okay. As a county legislature, what would you do to bring jobs to this area?
So a lot of this goes back to making our towns more hospitable for small businesses and large businesses. To me, like a lot of the other candidates have spoke about, first and foremost, we need at least a public sewer system in our downtown areas. And the county can help with that by helping encourage the towns to change their zoning laws, helping make businesses, maybe offer tax incentives for businesses to come in so that it's more attractive and they're more willing to put down their roots. Because without growing businesses, we can't grow our residents and we can't grow our towns and nobody will thrive.
We are committed to enhancing broadband in every town, including the last mile. We are working with companies. We're doing a survey, as everybody knows, that, and please, Stanfordville's ahead of Pine Plains on their survey responses, so please do that. We're committed to making sure that broadband gets to the last, because again, broadband is business. I mean, you have people that work from home, you have a lot of other things. COVID has changed that, so do that. And as far as tax incentive, that's what we have an IDA LDC for. Those are the people in county government that gives those types of tax breaks, and we're very successful at doing that. But you also have to have business here. As I said, you have to encourage, you have to find the places in town, in any town, that you want something. You decide what that is, and then you go out and try to find it, and let them go through the planning process. You want a grocery store? Map out a spot for a grocery store, and then tell the grocer that they're not going to wait 5 years running through a planning board or a zoning board of appeals. This is what you can do in the next year. And that's how you stimulate businesses in towns. But that's up to the town, that's not up to the county.
Thank you. Can you just address other issues of concern that you would be working on for this legislative district in the coming years?
We have to do more, and we're proposing doing a lot more for veterans. We have to do more for the people that need help, mentally challenged people, mentally ill. New York State years ago just said, we're going to close the psych centers, which quite honestly needed to be closed, but they never gave the safety net for those people. Most of them just got left out on the streets. And we need to do more for those people, which is why we're, have the stabilization center. We're creating the U in the city of Poughkeepsie, the Youth Opportunity Union. Private, public funds, we're committed to $25 million in the legislature to make this happen, which is more than a YMCA, it's more than a swimming pool, it's programmatic changes that will hopefully change the lives of young people, not only in the city of Poughkeepsie, but in all of Dutchess County. Bring people together, learn about one another, and stop the hatred that's out there. And, you know, break that school to jail pipeline. You know, we need to do more for those people, and we're committed to that. And fortunately, we have the resources to do that because we have been managing Dutchess County well. And to support our towns. We've always been there to support our towns.
I hear a lot from Mr. Pulver about the county as a whole, and it's wonderful that the youth center is being built in Poughkeepsie, but where's the same level of support for our town and for our towns? And also, if you are committed to breaking that school to prison pipeline, why is the biggest expenditure our county has ever undertaken a current jail being built? That doesn't sound like ending the school to jail pipeline. But I think that the biggest things that we can work on in this next term of the legislature is really focusing on the areas that have been forgotten or ignored or are not as sexy to help out. And it's like those everyday community issues, like our infrastructure. I keep going back to it. And I know that when it comes down to it, what we're facing as towns and as a district, they're community issues. They are not political issues. And so I don't think that they should be treated as such in the legislature by the majority who ignores 20 plus bills in the last session brought by the Democratic caucus. Bills that are common sense changes that will better our communities. They won't even hear them. So I think it's time that we hear them.
Okay, thank you so much, and I'm going to just ask you to take your 2 minutes now to tell us anything more you want to cover. Thank you.
So a lot of why I want to be in the legislature comes from my lived experiences. I am a product of a robust social safety net. I was the kid getting free lunch at school. I was the family relying on Section 8 and food stamps. And that's what I believe government is here to do. It's here to support its people and to make sure that they have every opportunity to grow, thrive, and succeed. And from what I've heard tonight, these issues are not new issues, and they're not issues that are unique to this town. But I do believe that they need new leadership that is committed to helping our families, our town, and our district grow and thrive.
Thank you. And to mention the jail, which is now a transition center, we drove down the recidivism rate by 50% before bail reform. And I will tell you, you should have looked at the jail because you wouldn't kennel your dog in the old jail. And if you treat people like animals, that's what you get. And we are proud of the fact that this place is going to be state-of-the-art with the program changes that need to, again, stop recidivism. I toured the jail. I was heartbroken when I saw the original jail. It was a cage that they put human beings in. So we could have kept it that way, not built it. Or we could do something that was state-of-the-art. So unfortunately, New York State requires us to have a jail by state law. So the Division for Corrections actually came down and designed it and had us build it. That being said, obviously, anybody that knows me, I joined the rescue squad, or joined the fire company in 1981. I joined the rescue squad in 1983. I was captain of the rescue squad. I've been a member of the Catamount Ski Patrol for over 38 years. I've given back to this community with my heart, my soul, and every being. And to say that somehow that's not good enough, I don't know what else I can do. I'm committed to these towns. I'm one of you. Whether you're new or lived here for the rest of your life or all your life, I am you. And the 20 bills that we didn't put on the agenda were, had a memo with each one saying why they were not germane to either county business or were so poorly written that they couldn't be put on the agenda. And we actually asked the Democratic caucus to work with them to help get some of these bills through, which we did, and guess what? They passed unanimously when we worked together. Not when they put stuff on that just isn't agendable, which is unfortunate. But maybe that's so they can get the soundbite that I did 20 denials, but that's okay.
Okay.
I've got big shoulders.
That-